Welcome back to Boxonic. Today we've got Jake Paul talking wild, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. firing back, and the boxing world split in two. This fight just got personal.
I'll whoop both your ass on the same night.
It's gonna be a good fight.
Put both the Chavez's in there. I'll whoop senior and junior.
You say this is how dumb. No, this is how dumb you are.
Super smart.
This is how dumb he
I'm
is.
the first YouTuber pound for pound #1 in the world. Yes. Oh, here.
He's getting
Look at me, man.
Trash talk. He was talking to your father and all that. And so I was wondering if you felt disrespected or upset about anything that he said in the press conference.
Yes, a little bit disrespect.
At a fiery press event, Jake Paul lit the fuse by bragging he could beat both Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. and his legendary father on the same night. That cocky claim instantly triggered Chavez Jr., who clapped back hard, reminding Jake that while he was still a YouTube kid, Julio was already wearing a world title. The trash talk escalated fast, adding real heat to what's becoming a high-stakes emotional showdown.
Campeón, dile.
When you were born, I was already a champ.
There's two things you can't beat. There's two things you can't beat. Me and your drug addiction.
Well, Julio, you have had your struggles in recent years.
Julio Chavez Jr. didn't hold back. He said the fans are with him and they're itching to see Jake finally eat his words. He called out Jake's constant trash talk and spotlight chasing, saying people are done with the circus. Julio's message was loud and clear. It's time someone shuts Jake Paul up and he's ready to be that guy.
People say, I like Jake Paul. Oh, I hate Jake Paul. I don't like him. Beat him. Put back him in the internet, YouTube. So I'm feel support to everybody, man.
You think there's any chance this man can beat you?
not a shot in hell. There's nothing he does that can offset anything I'm gonna do to him. Not a single thing. Cardio, pace, output, jabs, body work, inside fighting, wherever the fight goes, however the fight goes, he's gonna be outworked in every single round.
Talking to Ariel Helwani, Julio opened up about just how disrespected he felt by Jake's comments, especially the jabs involving his father. He admitted fight talk is normal, but Jake crossed the line. Julio said he always showed respect to Jake but never got it back, which makes this way more personal than hype. For him, it's not just promotion, it's principle.
To try to enter to a real boxing, you know, is why he started me, because I'm ex-world champion, so he speak too much trash, you know, and try to sell the fight, but I don't like hear that things, you know, like, I don't know, Jake is good for that, you know, for promote fights and these things, but I really want to find out if it's good in boxing, for real.
So a lot of people who have fought Jake have tried to sort of, as I said, end Jake Paul, like end all of this. They don't like that he's in boxing. Is that a motivation for you to knock him out so that he says, I don't want to do this anymore, so you could be the one to say you got Jake Paul out of fighting?
Yes, so that's, you know, I'm still thinking that I'm better than Jake Paul, so I think after this fight, maybe Jake continue to fight. I don't know, try to be a best boxer, but I don't think he have skills and everything for win that fight. Yes, I want to end the Jake Paul career. I want to end.
What do you think it will say about you at this stage of your career? 39, you've been fighting for so long, you know, 60 fights, all that stuff. If you beat Jake Paul, what will that say about who Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. is right now?
You know, I want to put clear that I'm still here.
Julio's stepping into the ring with real boxing blood and a legacy behind him. He's not some crossover athlete or internet celeb looking for clout. He's a fighter raised in the sport, where Jake Paul sells viral moments. Julio brings decades of sweat, grind, and ring IQ. He's not just out to win, he wants to remind everyone what real boxing looks like. For Julio, This isn't about clicks, it's about honor.
You know, for me, like when I lost with Anderson Silva, but I'm out of shape. So these things, like the fight with Silva and a couple other fights, make the UFC fighters or the other people thinking then this guy can beat like a real boxers. So I don't think that's it's not possible, you know, because when you're a real boxer, you train right. It's different, you know, different sport. You know, you in boxing you need to do in point, to win rounds. And UFC, you're only thinking and I don't know, kill the other guy, you know. So it's different. So I'm very excited. I'm training very hard to prove that I'm much better fighter than Jake Paul. So and of course they're
At the presser, when asked if Jake could ever hang with Canelo Alvarez, Julio laughed it off. He said Jake wouldn't last a round with someone like Canelo's skill. Levels are miles apart. To Julio, comparing Jake to an elite like Canelo is a joke, maybe even an insult to serious boxers. He made it clear, hype doesn't equal greatness.
I don't think he have a chance with Canelo.
Obviously, Jake was scheduled to fight Canelo, and then it fell through. How do you think that fight would have gone? Do you think he would have been in some big trouble?
No, I think Canelo is much better than him, you know. He's not the same level, so that's why I say my career is different than his career, because I don't think he have a chance with Canelo.
Live, only on DAZN, June 20th. Jake Paul versus Chavez Jr. Buy now at DAZN.com/.
Even Rolando, Rolly Romero backed Julio up, praising his resume and battle-tested experience. He said Julio's fought more elite opponents than Jake's probably ever heard of. That kind of respect matters. In boxing, it's earned in blood and sweat. With big fights under his belt, Julio's not just showing up, he's continuing a legacy. Rolly's words paint Jake as the rookie and Julio as the real deal.
He's fighting a legend's son.
Real deals. How do you think he does?
Who's been in the ring with a bunch of other legends. I mean, Chavez fought Canelo. He fought a bunch of people.
People got to see more, you know. People don't want to give it to him, just coming where he's come from.
Yeah.
But if other boxers co-sign him as a real fighter, that's a good testament. That's a good sign.
Right, he's fighting Chavez Jr. I don't care. Yeah. But he's fighting a real fighter. He's fighting a legend's son.
Real deals. How do you think he does?
Who's been in the ring with a bunch of other legends. I mean, Chavez fought Canelo. He fought a bunch of people.
But how do you think Jake does in that fight?
Where's the fight at? Cruiser?
No idea. 65? What?
I don't even know. I don't pay attention to it, to be honest with you.
I don't think Jake Paul can make 65 ever. So.
Nah, hell no. Jake Paul is like a good 220 pounds naturally.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
165.
Jake Paul trains hard, bro. He's a very intelligent person. You guys think he's a fucking bimbo. He's very fucking intelligent.
Yeah. He's definitely a beast, and he's definitely a monster with marketing.
No, not even the marketing, bro. He's a very intelligent person.
Yeah. You could tell by what he's doing.
Jake Paul walks with swagger, always claiming he's revolutionizing boxing and dragging it out of the dark ages. He says the sport was stale. He's the shakeup it needed. Critics slam him constantly, but Jake wears that hate like a badge of honor. Still, fighters like Julio see it differently. To them, boxing isn't about clout or clickbait. It's about blood, sweat, and legacy, not likes and followers.
When you say that, what does that mean to you to protect the sport?
Well, for me, I feel like I'm the only one doing it. Everyone else is just trying to gatekeep or say that they're doing things for the sport or something is bad for boxing. But I'm the greatest thing to happen to boxing since Muhammad Ali. And there's no even debating that. And what I've done speaks for itself. No other fighter is building gyms, getting boxing gloves into the hands of kids, throwing multiple events a year, donating my whole entire purse back into my own charity when I fought in Puerto Rico, taking women from getting paid $1,000 to 5, 6, 7 million, breaking Netflix records, shutting down the site, 128 million global viewers. The list goes on, and I've done this in only 12 fights. where Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, Floyd Mayweather, Marvin Hagler, like you could name any of these people, fought nobodies for their first 15 to 20 fights, and no one even knew who they were. And so my career has been different, heavily criticized from the start, but that's the mark and the sign of someone who's a disruptor and someone who's changed.
Boxing legend Oscar De La Hoya is paying close attention, especially since this is Jake's first fight against a real boxer. Julio brings more than a famous name. He brings legacy, grit, and credibility. Oscar sees past the flashy promos. To him, this fight isn't just hype, it's Jake's entry into true boxing. No more influencers. No more past their prime athletes. This is the proving ground Jake's avoided until now.
And I'm really excited because the only reason I got involved with this is because he's fighting a real fighter now. Julio Cesar Chavez went 12 rounds with Canelo. He is an ex-world champion in boxing. So this is a real legit fight. I'm looking forward to it. I'm obviously questioning what Chavez Jr. will we see. Will he be in great shape? Will he not be in shape? Will he make weight? Will he do a lot of questions behind it? But ultimately, you have to tell yourself, Jake Paul, congratulations. This is a real first legitimate world champion fighter you're fighting.
Some fans raise concerns about Julio's age, wondering if he's still in peak shape, but they're missing context. Julio hasn't been out of the game or sitting on a beach. He's stayed in the gym, stayed ready. Unlike Jake's past opponents, who often came from MMA or were semi-retired, Julio never left boxing. He's active, sharp, and still grinding in the sport he grew up in.
Word on the grapevine is that Jake Paul will be fighting Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. in his upcoming fight. That is apparently going to be announced very, very soon. Now, this is actually quite an interesting one, really. Jake's going to get a lot of stick for this. It is another retired fighter. However, this is a guy that realistically has only been retired for about 4 years. He also isn't a 60-year-old Mike Tyson. Chavez Jr. is only 39 years old. The last notable fight realistically for Chavez Jr. was Danny Jacobs. That was back at the back end of 2019. So you could say that realistically the guy hasn't been fighting top competitors for about 5.5 years or so. The thing that does worry me just a little bit is that Chavez Jr. was pretty much fighting at middleweight during his, let's say, prime. And no doubt that this fight will be at cruiserweight, if not heavyweight. So good on Jake Paul for fighting someone who is semi-recently retired this time, and is actually a boxer and not an MMA fighter. But again, shame on Jake Paul for fighting someone who is considerably smaller and will likely want them to balloon up to cruiserweight. Maybe even heavyweight if Jake's sticking at this thing of he's a heavyweight now. Let me know in the comments, will you watch this if it's on Netflix and it doesn't cost any more money like the Mike Tyson fight did? Are you interested? Should Jake Paul be taking on more active professional boxers nowadays, you know, not someone who has been retired for 4 or 5 years? I'm interested to know your opinions. Also, will this fight actually get made? Let me know in the comments. As always, like, favorite, save, and a share, all appreciated. And if you want to be kept up to date with everything boxing, hit that follow button.
Jake's fights have always carried an air of suspicion. When he fought Tyson, fans wondered if it was real competition or just a big money circus. Now with Julio, the same questions are back. Is this a legit fight or another viral event disguised? As boxing, nothing's confirmed, but Jake's trend of fighting older or unusual rivals fuels the fire. One thing's certain, both men are risking their names.
You can't make this shit up. Guys, Jake Paul fights this weekend at the same time as UFC 317. And don't be shocked, but it's another scam. This time it's against Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., who's 39 years old, hasn't fought in a year, and lost a boxing match to Anderson Silva, who's not even a fucking boxer and 50 years old. You guys have to know the drill by now. Take Jake Paul, minus 650, throw him in parlays, take him straight, lay the line, he's not losing. This shit's hilarious. A flat out joke. A disgrace. But free cash is free cash. I'm not watching a second of this fight. A second. I'm just gonna watch my bets, turn green, and get paid out. Do yourself a favor. And get paid out too. Jake Paul, minus 650. Free as the air you...
Jake enters this matchup believing this is his moment, the fight where he finally shuts up the doubters. He's also flipping it on Julio, calling this a test for him too. And Jake's not shy about bringing up that he beat Anderson Silva, who once beat Julio. But boxing isn't algebra, you don't carry over wins. Still, that mental edge matters. Confidence can be a weapon. Whether it lands, we'll find out on fight night.
What do you think about when you see some of these matches? Like they just said, didn't they just have Jake Paul was gonna fight
Tyson?
What do you think about that shit, man?
It's fucking crazy, isn't it?
It's fucking dumb, I think.
Like, well, what are you expecting? What do you think the outcome's going to be?
Well, I think...
Because I thought that Jake Paul would have lost by now, even fighting these guys at some stage, but he keeps winning. Like, I know that they're not, like, in their prime or whatever, but the whole background was fighting.
That's a good point.
And he keeps, like, somehow pulling it out. Like, if he pulls this one out, I don't care how old Mike Tyson gets. I'm not even fighting that guy until... Because he actually sat down on my show. He's fucking crazy.
Really?
Yeah. Like, I felt... I'm not fighting. Even if he's 70 years old, I'm not fighting.
He just felt like he had that danger in him?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh
well, I asked him, what would you be if you weren't a boxer? He said, a fucking criminal. Like, stone cold in my eyes. And I'm like, okay, nice.
Jake's bout with Mike Tyson felt more like Hollywood than hardcore boxing. Tyson hadn't fought in ages, so the threat was low. But Julio's no nostalgia act. He's active, younger, and still fast. This time, Jake isn't getting a legend. On cruise control, he's getting a live, dangerous opponent who can actually test him. If Jake thought Tyson was a big deal, he's in for a real wake-up call now.
Jake Paul just went against Anderson Silva last night, and it was crazy. They was going back and forth. In the 8th round, Jake Paul dropped Anderson Silva. It was a crazy back and forth war, but I feel that's what gave him the dub. Jake Paul walks away with the unanimous decision victory. The judges scored the scorecard 77-74, 78-73, and 78-73. Jake Paul advances to 6-0 in his professional boxing career. This was insane. He then goes on to call out Nate Diaz. What do you think is going to happen with that? It's crazy with this. Everybody and their mom was doubting Jake Paul back and forth. But now, when he beats Anderson Silva, what do you think he's going to do to Nate Diaz? No disrespect, but he's a much younger fighter. He's getting better every day, every night. And who knows, might walk away with a W. Tune in next time.
Jake Paul continues to split the boxing world. Some love the chaos he brings others. See a glorified YouTuber playing fighter. Hardcore fans question whether he's chasing belts or just building a brand. But this fight with Julio, it's his shot to rewrite the narrative. If he wins with skill, the respect might finally follow. But if it feels staged or shallow, the critics will only get louder.
My final What's That Smell goes to Jake friggin' Paul. Yes, as he's gearing up for his upcoming fight against Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., a guy that can't win a fight, hasn't won a fight in the last 10 years. The guy's been an absolute joke. Well, Jake comes out and says, hey, listen, I'm getting in the ring with a champion at one point. I'm getting in the ring with a guy that was on top of the world at one point. All Jake Paul is selling is at one point, because Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. hasn't won in more than 10 years of those points. What are you trying to sell? Here's what I think he's trying to sell. He's trying to sell a fight that means nothing. Jake Paul, he's great on the HBO special thing, the documentary that he has, The Pauls. He's great at everything he touches when it comes to marketing. Stop trying to sell something that doesn't exist. You will never get into a ring with a real boxer, because if you do, you're going to get your ass